Hello, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for attending today's webinar. Today, we're going to talk about the GPU Cloud in a Box. We're going to talk about the Cloud Services Portal and how the Cloud Services Portal can enable you to build products with ease. For those who are not familiar, my name is Angelica Ambrosio, and I am a developer advocate at Mirantis. My focus is on k0rdent AI, and I'm passionate about developer advocacy, building meaningful connections with the dev community. I also have a background spanning technical marketing, platform engineering, DevRel, and I love to combine both my passions for tech and education by creating content that makes complex text easier to understand for everyone of varying skill levels. And then those of you who are not familiar with Mirantis, we're the original private cloud pioneer. We built our reputation by helping enterprises run OpenStack at scale, especially those with complex, high-performance infrastructure needs. After building and operating some of the world's largest clouds, we're now focused on tackling the next big challenge: AI infrastructure for enterprises, service providers, and neoclouds. So let's take a quick look at our global footprint. So we work with thousands of customers across 85 to 90 countries. We've got teams of more than 15 ready to service them. Our customers span almost every industry: software, finance, telecom. And what sets us apart is our customer first approach. Beyond our technology, we provide managed services, professional services, and an in house security team, giving customers the confidence to move fast without worrying about resources or execution. We handle all the complexity so our customers can stay focused on what they do best, driving innovation and results. And today I'm going to show you the Cloud Services Portal that helps you achieve exactly that. So, for the agenda today, we got the introductions out of the way. So, we're going to talk about accelerating product development for cloud service providers. We're going to talk a little bit more about this GPU Cloud in a Box product with Mirantis Coordinator. Then we have two demos. So with these demos, we have what we call the operator experience and we have what we call the customer experience. And then once everything's all done, we'll wrap everything up. So let's talk about the challenge. Cloud service providers struggle to keep up with rapidly growing customer demand. So delivering these new cloud services requires speed, scale, and differentiation. What that means is that the cloud service providers need to put out something on the market that's fast and is a good competitor to what other products are on the market. But the problem with this is that product development is slow, complex, and resource intensive. In order to keep up with these rapidly evolving marketing needs, customer expectations for speed and competitive pressure are forcing these cloud service providers to deliver new services faster than ever without increasing operational complexity or costs. Building cloud products and services is often a long, complex, and resource heavy process. So, what that means is that from the design and development to the testing and to the launch, product creation requires a lot of time, specialized expertise, and a cross team coordination, which will slow down your time to market and limit your innovation. And then lastly, there is no easy way to quickly create, customize, and brand ready products at scale. So cloud service providers lack the flexible frameworks that enable rapid product assembly and white labeling, which forces teams to rebuild similar solutions repeatedly instead of reusing proven components. So what this means is that we're creating code over and over and over, and it's basically the same code. So why not just take that same code and instead of rewriting it again, have it readily available so that you can just add it into your product and save yourself the time of development, testing, all that, if you just reuse the code that you already wrote. If we lived in a perfect world, this would be super easy to achieve, but we do not. So AI infrastructure has a lot of challenges. Number one, complexity. Running AI is powerful and hard to manage. Whether you're running your AI on your cloud server or your bare metal, this can be something that's really tricky to handle. Buying servers and GPUs is like an easy thing, but turning them into a usable multi-tenant platform is not. Few teams actually have the skills to do it well. And then number two, customer experience. Customers expect a cloud-like experience with AI infrastructure. They want a familiar experience like what the hyperscalers do. So like cloud console UI, multi-tenant environments, pay as you go with metering and payment, low latency, high reliable environment. That's really hard to deliver, especially on bare metal systems. And then lastly, operational efficiency. So it is akin to what I mentioned with the cloud service delivery challenges. GPUs are super expensive, so every percent of use matters. You have to share your resources safely and track usage closely. And the goal here is to make your infrastructure super efficient, right? So if you want to create these products, you have to make your infrastructure strong enough so that way you can handle running AI on top. And of course, developing an independent ability to operate and innovate. So you want to be careful about the vendors that you choose to work with, avoid vendor lock in, and build the ability to run and innovate on your own. That way, the companies who want control and flexibility have that full control, does not have to worry about vendor lock in, and they can actually focus on what they do best, innovation. And it is because of those problems that we've created k0rdent AI. So, what is k0rdent AI? k0rdent AI simplifies infrastructure. It automates setup from bare metal to running AI workloads. It provisions servers on-prem or in the cloud. It installs your OS and sets up networking automatically, configures GPUs and builds clusters as needed. And it will allow you to add the key services like NVIDIA GPU operator, and it will let you layer on more AI tools for training or inference. So the TLDR, k0rdent AI gets your AI infrastructure ready fast with everything already set up for you. So you can enjoy that turnkey experience that a lot of customers crave. And now we're going to address the cloud services delivery problem with the cloud services portal. So our solution addressed the need with three main components. Number one, the customer portal. This is the entry point for cloud service providers as customers. It delivers a simple, intuitive experience for ordering and deploying services, such as GPU-enabled Kubernetes clusters. Two, product builder. This product builder, or the operator experience, is a tool for service providers to quickly create new products by combining reusable building blocks from a pre-built catalog. Three, framework and SDK. This gives developers the ability to extend the catalog by creating their own custom additional reusable components. So what we have is the operator experience, who's like the cloud service providers who are creating the products. And then we have the end user portal or the customer portal, which allows customers to purchase these products that you put out onto the marketplace. And then we have the catalog, which means that these developers or operators can create their own custom components. And I'm going to demo that in my demos for the operator experience. I have the diagram for the cloud service portal. So I'm going to demo the operator experience and I'm going to demo the customer experience. Remember, the operator view is like for the cloud service providers. So this enables you to kind of be your own cloud service provider. And then the customer portal is like the enterprises. So these are the enterprises that are buying your product and allows them to like white label them and resell them. So let's start with the operator view. So what we have here is the operator experience. In this demo, I'm going to show how to create a blueprint, create a sandbox component, and show graph view and connecting components. So let's start off with creating a blueprint. So with creating a blueprint, we can create a product at ease, and it allows you to customize your product and tailor to your customer's need without too much coding, right? So here's the catalog of available blueprints. So as you can see, we have like the account activation. This allows you to have your account activated by email, bare metal host, basic k0rdent cluster, and that's exactly where we're going to go, is the basic k0rdent cluster. So let's go into the k0rdent API collection. We're going to click the basic k0rdent cluster AWS blueprint to view its details. And in here, we actually can start customizing our product. So we have the blueprint metadata. So we have the title field, we have the blueprint ID, which is for internal identification. And then we have the input parameters. So every component will have an input and an output. So as you can see on the screen, we have input. So like control plane number would be an integer. Email would be a string. AWS region would be a string. And then here we have the custom code components. So this allows you to create your own components so you can reuse them and create products. And then here we have the reusable components already built for your convenience. So this could be cluster deployment, the cluster kubeconfig. So I'm going to go ahead and put a blueprint description. Then I'm going to scroll down and we're going to select the category. So this is a k0rdent cluster. So we're going to keep it with the k0rdent collection. And then we have tags. So these tags actually make it easy for you to categorize and organize your components. And then you can even add a custom icon so it's easy to identify. So for the sake of the demo, I'm going to choose the code icon down at the bottom. There you go. So here is the blueprint input. So we could click the expand button and we can actually see all the input parameters. So we have like control plane number, email, region, workers number. And if I want to add to it, I can click add parameter. And then I could say, okay, here's my parameter. I'm going to call it parameter 5. Or I could just call it parameter. And then I could choose the type. So in this one, I'm just going to make it a string. So this will be another input that you have like in a field, right? So let's say if my parameter is email, right? Like before, you can just have this as a field, email, and then make it a string. Then you add the parameter. And if you look in the JSON schema, you could see that the parameter is being added already into the JSON. So here I have 3 components, my cluster deployment, kubeconfig, and email. So I'm going to actually go and create a component button to add another custom component to my blueprint. So we're going to create a sandbox component for reuse and other products. So I have 3 languages available right now. I have Python, TypeScript, and Go. So for the sake of the demo, I'm going to go with Go. And I'm going to enter a name for my component. So I'm going to call this my Golang component. And then here we pretty much have like a template. And all you have to do is enter your code here for your custom component. So you only put it in once, and then you can reuse this component with your products without having to rewrite code each time. So you can go ahead, put your code there. Once that's done, you click the create component button to finalize and save your new sandbox component. And then here we have it loading here. So once it's done loading, I can go ahead and start adding it onto my product. So I'm going to show you what this looks like visually. So we have what we call graph view. And then this allows you to look at the relationships between the components. So I have 3, the cluster deployment, the kubeconfig, and then the email. So all the components have input, output. So with the cluster deployment, the inputs are name, and then the output would be status. And then for kubeconfig, the input would be name, and then the output would be the kubeconfig. And an email would be, input would be name, the output would either be error, value, or status. So I can actually start adding components in from the left-hand side toolbox. So I'm going to take this simple component. And then I'm going to add, I'll add the k0rdent cluster. So I'm going to put the k0rdent cluster here with my simple component. So you see I have the inputs and the outputs, and then we have these little nodes. If we connect them together, we can see how the relationships with these components work. And voila, I have a product. So once I'm satisfied with my blueprint, I'm going to click the save button to finalize my product configuration. So that was the end of the operator experience. I'm going to show you now the customer experience. This would be from like the eyes of enterprises who are buying the products that we just created. So the operator was creating the product. So I created that k0rdent cluster product. And then I'm going to put it on the marketplace. And then customers will be like enterprises are going to take these products and they're going to white label them and customize them so they can also resell them. So I'm going to create a cluster via a cloud service. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an AWS cluster and a Docker-based cluster using the k0rdent cloud services. We're going to start with the AWS cluster like I did with the operator experience. So we can take our blueprints. So all the blueprints that you created in the operator experience will be available in the cloud services API collection. So we're going to click on the basic k0rdent cluster card. We're going to create a configuration. And then we can enter the configuration name for your service deployment. And as you can see, the pricing actually changes in real time. So that way customers or tenants will know how much this service is going to cost them. I can add a description. So let's say this is my k0rdent cluster. And then I'm going to set the control plane number. So I'm going to only need 1. Now I need to put an email address. So this is going to be the tenant or the customer's email address to receive the kubeconfig. So I'm going to put that in, and then I have the control plane number, Then I'm going to set the AWS region. So let's say that my customer is in the West. So I'm going to select US West. Then when I'm satisfied, I look, okay, this will cost me $400 a month. And it itemizes everything for you. Base services, $300 a month. Compute resources, $100 a month. So once I'm satisfied, I'll deploy the service and email the kubeconfig. And I get to watch in real time too. So I can see, okay, my cluster deployment succeeded. I'm just waiting on the kubeconfig. Remember the component? And then I'm going to wait for the email. See, it's all your components together to create one product. All right, so let's go check on our deployed cluster. So this is our deployed cluster. As you can see, our cluster deployment and our kubeconfig was successful, and it has been sent to my email. And then here we have another one. Yes, so here is the kubeconfig. This is the k0rdent cluster that I had created, and then I sent the kubeconfig to myself. So as a customer, I could take the kubeconfig and I can actually just start working with it and creating things with it, right? So I can go ahead and just click the download button from my email, and I have a cluster. Now let's try Docker-based clusters. So in the k0rdent API collection, we just click the basic k0rdent cluster, which is the Docker card. As you can see, it's the same as the AWS one. I can see my active deployments. I can watch my components and see, okay, we have the cluster deployment successful. We just waiting on the kubeconfig. So I'm going to create a new one. And it's just like before. So I can watch my pricing go up and down as I select my resources. Then I need to put my customer's email address. So I'm going to put my email and deploy the service. And then just like that, I can just get a cluster that's AWS, Docker. It basically makes it super easy to get everything I need without having to code it from scratch again. Next is creating tenants. So we're going to create and manage tenants via the customer experience UI with the cloud services portal. We're going to click the sample end user tenant that's up on the top right, and we're going to select a different tenant. So I'm going to click manage tenants. Then we're going to click the new tenant button to create an additional tenant in the system. So I'm going to put an ID here. So I'm going to say my name is my tenant 3. But we're going to have a display name. So the tenant ID is internal. The display name is external. So I'm going to change it to Angelica tenant 2. And then I'm going to put a description. This is my sample tenant. And I'm going to create the tenant. And it's very easy. So if I want to create a product for sample end user tenant, I could just select them. If I wanted to create a product for Angelica tenant 2, I'll have to click on that. See? So now I can start creating services APIs for Angelica tenant 2. So next we're going to go look into bare metal host API. So you remember I mentioned like bare metal being used as infra. So we also not just manage Kubernetes resources, but we also manage other resources like bare metal. So we can click on the bare metal to view available metal infrastructure services. So as you can see, we have bare metal host, data image, host firmware components, everything we need so we can just start putting the services together, and we can even use them in the product builder. I'm showed before in the operator experience in the toolbox, they have like the bare metal host there. So everything that's here in these API collections can be added together on top of each other to create products. So it's very easy for the configurations. So you create the configuration, and it's the same thing basically as like the clusters. But of course, since it's bare metal host, there's a lot more fields. I'm just going to briefly go over this and there. So that was the customer experience. And I'm going to summarize again. So the customer experience is for like the customers, the end users. They can actually start purchasing these cloud services from this portal. The operator experience was like for like a cloud service provider's perspective. They're the ones who are creating the products. And what they do is they have these components with code in them. And that way you can reuse code without having to code it all over from scratch. So you save yourself time. And that way you can also get your products out to market as soon as you can. Also, it allows you to have that flexibility by creating the custom components. So let's say a customer wants something very specifically. You can just create a custom component, and it's like a template. So all you have to do is just paste your code in there and you already have your custom component. Then you can start adding things like inputs, outputs, and then start putting them together like in the graph view and show the relationships. Then once that's done, your blueprint is ready. And then from the customer experience, the customer can actually take that blueprint. And for example, I was showing the clusters. I just put in the email for the customer, how many worker planes or worker nodes they have and control planes they have. And then I sent it over and I was able to grab the kubeconfig. So it's basically a much faster way of getting your products out to market and also giving customers that customization that they need, the flexibility. So, key takeaways: the cloud service portal. With k0rdent AI's product builder and ready to use core modules, teams can dramatically accelerate how they create products, moving from idea to implementation in a fraction of time it traditionally takes. So basically, this means that I can create my products without worrying about, like, oh wait, it has to look a certain way, right? Or the customers ask for this, right? So I can create my products, but I can still customize it and tailor it to customers' need without worrying about having to get like more time to do it or having a bigger team to do it. Next is enabling faster service launches. Cloud service providers can respond to customer demand more quickly and efficiently without being slowed down by lengthy development cycles or complex integrations. But at the same time, we have that flexibility. So rather than offering rigid one size fits all services, cloud service providers can deliver customizable solutions that allow customers to tailor products to their specific needs while still maintaining that consistency and control. And finally, development friction is significantly reduced. By centralizing pre rendered deployable components into a single catalog, teams eliminate repetitive work, so repeating writing the same code over and over, streamline collaboration, and focus their effort on delivering differentiated value instead of rebuilding the basics. Thank you so much for taking the time to attend today. And I just want to say, I hope you find this session helpful and learn something new today. Through this session, I gave you guys all a clear picture of how the cloud services portal can help you streamline your creation of cloud services products and how customers can easily grab their products and start putting like their own white labeling and adding their customization. So I hope this was a very helpful session for everyone. And if you'd like to see more, please reach out using mirantis.com/contact. And we also have the QR code available on screen. And I'd love to continue the conversation. All right, that ends today's webinar. So thank you, everyone. And I hope everyone has a great day.